Okay, we are recording now. Hi, Judy. Oh, she's just coming in. So one thing that Kim and I have started to do, Kim more than me, I was just sort of an in-between person, is getting information on data compliance for online courses. So for example, I use Cengage a lot, and we need to know what Cengage policy in regard to keeping that data that students are doing their work on Cengage platforms, and how are we going to ensure that we are having the appropriate amount of access to that data. So we're supposed to keep data. I thought it was 3 years, but Kim told me it's 5 years now.
It's 3, so it's 5 years, and the 3 years comes in accessible. Okay, so it's 5 years, and some people say 3 years accessible when they come in and do an audit. Some folks say 2 years accessible, 3 years stored, where it's quote unquote easily accessible. I think it's easier to have 3 years accessible, easily accessible, 2 years stored, where you have to, retrieve it.
Okay.
Retrieving it is not fun, as we learned recently in a recent audit. But it is 5 years, and for some healthcare programs, it's 6 years. And I probably need to get with Marty on that to make sure none of those. I think that's mostly nursing programs,
Right.
but it's definitely 5 years, and it's always, as far as I know, been that way. And so we have to have access for that. And so part of this is, it's always been that way, but part of needing to be able to retrieve this from third-party vendors has come up a lot with DOE regulations. It's always been there. It's always been a potential issue, but now with the DOE regulations, people are really catching on to it. So this is part of that kind of synchronous working on it that I had mentioned with the DOE work group. So Dr. Wyman has been helping kind of work with that a little bit to start gathering some information.
Yeah. So one of the things about it that Kim and I briefly talked about this morning is that, right now we're just starting this process, and really it's the burden of it is on Kim. It's really not on the faculty, but, we should really be audit ready all the time. If everybody's doing their jobs, an auditor should be able to walk in here and everything should be perfect. So with this compliance, what we're going to have is a starting point that we're started to try to gather this information, and that we're working toward it. And, Kim will be getting some data. We already have some data anyway, but, all of that. So, and I'm sure that we're not the only college looking for that from these platforms. So I'm sure if they are just getting up to speed because of DOE or for whatever other reason, we will end up getting it. So anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So
right.
just for that, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say that, the instructors have the access codes. So, right now, when you think about the burden of compliance, it is on the instructors, because you're the ones with the access. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that we have a way for there to be more than one access point, or an easy way to access, because we know that there's instructor turnover, or maybe there's instructors who maybe, retire, or maybe somebody's just not there that day and we can't get in their course, so that's, kind of the issue as well. So we're trying to kind of come up with a process for that. So, that's kind of where
Well,
we're
I
at.
just meant that collecting the information about it isn't
Yeah.
up to the faculty.
Right.
That's all I meant. I didn't mean that we aren't responsible for the courses, but.
Right. Well, I just want to make sure that, we clarify that right now, no one can get in there but you guys. And so
Right,
that's what
exactly.
everybody's realized. That's what everybody's realizing right now is that, wait a minute, nobody can get in there but instructors. Yeah.
Right, and I know with
Mhm.
Cengage, one of the issues that we have, you can add an additional instructor. But if you put whoever is the primary is the only one that has access to it. So I
Mhm.
don't know how, there is a way to add one, so I can, I will check and see if I add Vicky to every course as a additional instructor, if she would then have, how would she get access? I'll check on that.
That's good, because that might be one of the processes that the DOE work group comes up or ask about. If the
Yeah,
chair is added, would they be able to access? And to me, that makes sense.
yeah,
To have
right.
the chair as an additional person who could access it should the need arise.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check on that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to talk about are we reviewed these last, at our last meeting, we talked about processes for the standard review and for the buddy system. And so I just wanted to write something up and have a starting point to start discussing this and see what you all thought, if you wanted to, it's, like I said, it's just a starting point. So if you want to make changes, my feelings aren't going to be heard. It's just a starting point, right? So don't feel like you can't make suggestions or corrections or, say you don't think that this is appropriate or whatever, or that we need to add things. I mean, this is just the start of making sure that we have an appropriate process for each of these items.
I thought it looked good.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to add.
Can we start with the if I can't share anything, can we start with the faculty buddy thing
Sure,
and just maybe walk through that one?
sure. I don't know, maybe I can share the screen if I have it up there. I'll try it. Let's see.
Isn't technology fun?
Yeah, but I don't see my items here. So let's see.
And Dr. Wyman, I appreciate you doing that, taking the initiative and doing that.
I can share my screen if you'll give me the permission. I've got it right here.
Oh, you do? Okay, hold on. Let me just check. Okay, here it is. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody see that then?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead, Kim, if you wanna.
I wondered about instead of limiting it to adjunct faculty, what do you think about just having faculty, new faculty or adjunct faculty?
Want to Jack, yeah. I don't know where Wesley is, if anybody's asking.
Okay, so you're just gonna say just faculty.
For new online faculty? For new
Instead of adjunct, new online.
Yeah. Yeah, what do
Okay.
y'all think about that? Because, sometimes we have faculty who are new to teaching online. It may be someone who's been even I don't even know how to word it like this, because we may have instructors who have been with us, but but their primary role has been teaching face to face. And now they're teaching online. So they're not even a new faculty, but they're new to online teaching. So it could be someone who's been with us for a while, but they're new to online teaching. It could be someone who's a new faculty, or it could be a new adjunct. So how would you word it to include all those groups?
Well, I think if we're going to say I think changing it to online is good, because if you say new faculty, that's not gonna work. So,
Faculty who are new to online teaching?
yeah, new,
Faculty who are new to online teaching or who are teaching online for the first semester.
Yeah, that's good, Rochelle.
okay. I can make these changes. Okay, so faculty who are new to online teaching,
Mhm.
okay?
And I especially like that, next paragraph where you said, made it clear that they don't, we're not asking them to have any supervisory function or authority over that, person. And that the buddy is a seasoned faculty member. And so, and the objective, and then, may not be related for such as, and so we've got these policy student issues, but it's not limited to that, but is there anything anybody sees that you want to add to that? I think that's a good list.
Where are we looking?
MCC policy, student issues, class policy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
social
Okay.
hardening.
Those were just the ones I could think of at the top of my head. So if there's other things, I'm happy to put them in there.
So for faculty that come to you guys that you've already sort of been informally buddying, are these the things that tend to come up the most often?
For me, yes.
Mhm.
I would maybe add like technical / logistical issues or something. How do you log into Moodle? How do you do this kind of stuff?
Okay. Okay, and technical / logistical issues.
Mhm.
You want to word it, but something about the, nuts and bolts. How do you do this? How do you do that? Where do you find this? Where do you find that kind of stuff?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Should we change the sentence says regarding aspects of teaching that may not be related to a course? I mean, was that the whole goal? Like, I thought it was for Moodle support and other support. So did you mean like all in, not necessarily, or?
Where are you at, Maureen?
Yeah.
The sentence right above the list, it says the objective of the buddy system, blah, 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 regarding aspects of teaching that may not be related to a course. I thought that we did want them to help with the course, not necessarily the
Maybe-
subject matter.
Maybe change that not related to course content.
Yeah. Not necessarily, or well, not, I guess not related to course content.
Okay,
Right, I see what you're saying, because it is related to the.
Right, it is related
could
to
be
the course.
related to the course, because class policies are down
Well,
here.
right. I mean, but I was thinking content like in terms of like the discipline, like if I was mentoring somebody from Daniel's area, I'm not going to be telling them what kind of content to put in there.
Right.
You know,
Well,
and
maybe you could
that's all
say
I
not
meant. I
Not
just
related
meant,
to course content. Maybe you should say that, because you are helping them with things related to their course. You're helping them with, how do you set
so
up
if I
the
just say
grade?
content, if I just add that may not be related to course content.
Yes,
That's good.
yes,
Okay.
because you are helping them with grade book,
Oh, yeah.
stuff related to the course.
Yeah. So do we want to say, as one of the items, like setting up Moodle course, shells or something like that?
Yeah. I think
Maybe something just broader, like
Moodle
navigating
help.
the learning management system or something like that.
What's that? Let's see.
Navigating, do you want to say preparing, navigating / setting up LMS course?
Or you could just say, I mean, Moodle help, because that would encompass everything and you're not listing everything
Okay.
out.
So Moodle help, does that work for you,
Or
Rochelle?
Moodle support or,
Yeah, Moodle.
And
support.
you might even want to say LMS just to keep it generic.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay.
we were on Blackboard, now we're on Moodle, and I'm not saying that we're changing or anything, but I mean, if you
Right.
put LMS in there, it just keeps it agnostic.
Okay, so LMS support, yeah. I like that better. Is that good for you, Rochelle?
Yeah, LMS support, that's good.
Yeah.
And when you said where to find things, does that mean in Moodle or like on campus?
You asking me?
Well, who said that? Where to find things?
Yeah, I was thinking more like when you're new to this, you have to find somebody to ask them, how do I do this in Moodle? Or how do
Self-service.
how do I find my email? How do I access email, that kind of stuff. But if we're linking this more to online teaching, then maybe just keep it at LMS help.
Okay. So does the LMS support include the technical logistical issues?
I would think so. I would think that's what it's about.
Now, online teachers, they still have to, do they still do the self-service attendance and things like that?
I heard all faculty, including online, I heard we're starting that in the fall. I don't know if, I just heard that as a rumor.
I'm
I haven't been
piloting
told
that this semester.
I didn't hear you, Maureen.
I'm piloting that this semester. I'm doing attendance on self-service
Okay,
with my online class.
So that kind of makes me lean a little bit more towards like the LMS/technical issues, because that would open it up to self-service unless it's followed unless that just kind of falls under MCC policies or whatever.
I think we could list them separately, like LMS support B1 and then something about, something like technical support or,
Mhm.
something that would encompass self-service, email,
Intranet.
intranet, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
What about technical guidance, I guess? I don't know, technical support, technical.
yeah, I think, technical support is more like contacting IT. I think like the guidance part, I just don't know about using the support word.
I think
Mhm.
guidance is fine.
How about support with the LMS and other online
Yeah, because if they're really,
programs with
Mhm.
connected to online teaching or something?
Mhm.
I feel like
Okay,
we're
well-
a little bit picky here.
What, would you say that again, Rochelle?
Just something like support with the LMS and other programs related to online teaching or something. And that would include self-service and colleague and all that other stuff.
Without having to list them out separate.
Okay. Okay,
try to
support
find
with
something.
LMS and other programs related to online teaching.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we can refine the wording, but something like that.
Instead of programs, we should probably say applications.
Yeah, applications.
Mhm. Yeah, and that way we're not trying to list out each thing. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, everybody else is okay with that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
That's good.
Okay. So what about criteria? We had discussed that last time, that we probably should come up with some type of criteria. And so I had thought about that, and so I think I have some ideas about criteria I'd like to throw out and see what you guys think about it. So full-time faculty at Martin. So like an adjunct would not be a candidate,
Right.
and that they have, what do you think about 2 semesters experience teaching online? Do you think that's adequate? Do you think it should be 3?
You mean to be, do we want to like finish this section first and
Oh,
then
I'm
go
sorry.
on to that?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't, yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead.
Okay, does anybody have any comments about the next couple of paragraphs there? I mean, I'll update the language to
Yeah.
who are new to online teaching.
Now, y'all have to bear with me because I'm an English teacher and I've been reading rough drafts in 3 different classes all week. But at least on this first page, I feel like maybe there could be some reorganization and combining things, because it feels like we're repeating things at different points that could be condensed and maybe let this flow a little bit better.
Okay, do you want to take it and do that? Because I'm okay with
Yeah, I
it.
mean, that's not something that we have to, but it just seems like there are a couple times where it stresses, like the full-time faculty member is not a supervisor, they're there to help. And there are a couple of times where we talk about contact, and I feel like maybe those could be reorganized and condensed a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So is everybody okay with the contact timing on this paragraph?
So that's their response. The responsibility is outlined for their initial contact and follow-up. And then am I reading it correctly that then after that, it would be sort of just on an as-needed basis if the new online faculty has a question?
Yes, that was my thought.
I like that it's specific because as somebody who one time had a faculty mentor who never ever reached out to me, I like that we're at least giving some guidelines about what they should do.
Okay. So we've got it squared away about the initial contact, and if they don't follow up, then then that faculty person, mentor is going to follow up, or buddy. And then after that, it's up to the other person it's up to the person who is new to follow up if they have any questions.
Correct.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yep. Okay, so the next.
And so the next doesn't know the answer. The adjunct should be directed to the person who can answer, or a full-time faculty member should find the answer and get back to the adjunct.
The only thing I was trying to point out there is that we should not leave somebody hanging, you know, that they're going to get an answer one way or the other. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but that is the most frustrating thing to me because then I feel like I'm hounding the person if they don't get back to me with the answer, you know, so I don't know if there's another way to say that, or if this is fine, or whatever you want to do, but I just wanted to let you know what my thoughts were there, that I just want the new online faculty teacher or new online faculty to be able to depend on this buddy to get the answers for them if they don't know it.
So I like that you put in that the adjunct should be directed to the person who can answer the question. Because that allows them to learn to be able to make those contacts themselves. And then there's a safeguard, backup. So the potential area for fallout is if the person, they try to make a contact or they're too shy and don't want someone to know that they weren't successful. But again, that's the onus is on the new faculty member.
Mhm. So do you want to take out that last section then? Just that we're
No.
directing
I
them?
mean, I think it's good to have a follow-up for the full-time, so by, first, giving that person the information and saying, and if you're comfortable making that, contact, then, go ahead and follow up. If you're not, let me know and I can assist you with that, right? And that's basically what you're saying,
Right.
right?
Does that need to be reworded, Rochelle?
I kind of missed what she was saying.
I'm wondering, maybe it could say, or the full-time faculty member can assist. Can assist.
By
Which section are we looking at?
The next to
The-
the last paragraph,
right here, this part right here.
or the full-time faculty member can find the answer and get back to the adjunct. Well, I guess maybe there's times that's just necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of implied that the faculty member is going to do their best to answer the question. And if they don't have the answer, then they'll point the adjunct in the right direction. I'm not sure that we need to.
But I also think, to your point, Kim, if the adjunct doesn't feel comfortable doing that, because they say that, I mean, if it is an adjunct, and they're new to online, they don't really know the campus that well. I think it is sort of on them to say, I don't feel comfortable like calling somebody cold. So then
Yeah.
that would give me the idea to, okay, I'll find out and I'll let you know. But
Yeah.
I don't, or introduce them to that person or
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was going to say, maybe we could change the wording to something like they could connect them with the person.
yeah, I guess that's,
Person, and that kind of implies that they're not just saying, oh, go call so-and-so, but
Yes.
they're facilitating
mhm,
the first
So
contact.
instead of directed, connected.
Yeah,
mhm. Yes, yes. I like that.
Okay. And then the last line, I guess.
Just leave that. Oh, yeah, I was still thinking about last part of the sentence, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
So we can just take that out then, right?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe it's a great piece to keep in there because sometimes there just might be something that you might just, that person might just need to follow up on. Sometimes those things come up. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm okay leaving it, but I'll go,
Mhm.
whatever the group says is fine with me.
I'm fine leaving it.
maybe just kind of rephrase it as the full-time faculty member may follow up to
As
see
needed.
if the question got answered or something, or if they need further help or something like
Well,
that.
then if you
Yeah.
say that, then you're saying that the faculty, the full-time, the mentor or the buddy, faculty, full-time faculty would be, it would then be their problem, right? So then
No,
you would
that's
have
why I use the word may.
to. Because
Yeah, I mean, do
if,
we even need to get it? Again, I feel like we may be splitting more hairs than we need to here.
yeah,
Mhm.
possibly,
Because they're gonna do the best to
Mhm.
answer the question, and if not,
Mhm.
connect the person with the resources to answer the question, right?
right?
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you.
So
Dr.
then,
Nixon.
so take out that last section then.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's necessary.
okay,
That's up to y'all.
Okay, I'll just take it out.
okay.
We can, we can always make changes
Yeah.
Mhm.
anytime we want
Called
to.
draft.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's right, that's right, it's a draft.
Yes,
So, and
It's a good
then
one too.
the full-time faculty will be assigned no more than 2 new online teaching faculty during any one semester. Is that good?
Mhm.
2 is
Mhm.
plenty?
I
Yeah.
think so.
I think that's plenty.
Yeah, because if you got somebody who's really needy, that might be a problem.
Well, but also,
Mhm.
how many new adjuncts are we gonna have every semester in a given division or area anyway?
True. Very
Dr.
true.
Neighbor.
But they may not be adjuncts, they may be like just new to online teaching,
That's
so.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know if, I think you have a point there, like how many is it gonna be really?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it's not like we're gonna have 15 faculty every semester who are new to Martin or new to online teaching.
right. Yeah, because the ones that are in Martin now, their focus is really gonna be the online teaching part, not necessarily the other things about policy and all that stuff. So they would be probably take less time to mentor.
They would just be more, how do I do this in Moodle? Oh, you do that in that. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, I will update the changes that we talked about, and then I will give it to Rochelle for her to, synchronize this better. And she's the English
Mhm.
faculty.
I'm
That's
in that
right.
mode this week, so.
Okay,
can we-
so do you want to move on to the review?
Before we leave that, can we go back and talk about criteria? 'Cause
Oh,
remember we
sure.
talked about criteria for being a buddy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. we
That's
can.
okay.
Is that in there?
So
I didn't see it.
it's not.
Okay, go ahead.
So when we, what about being that they would need to be a full-time faculty member?
Okay,
And that they would need to have some level of experience in teaching, online. So how many semesters do you think? 2 semesters? Is that enough? Should it be 3?
I think 2 is plenty.
You
yeah,
think 2 is good? Okay. And that they have the experience in teaching in Moodle. Like some people maybe they taught in
yeah.
Blackboard, not Moodle, or Canvas, or
Well,
not Moodle.
also, there are other ones for other schools. Like when I came here, I was coming from a place, we had e-college.
Mm-hmm.
And it did help me with Blackboard too, but it
Yeah.
wasn't, it was different, but it was helpful to have had that. But so I think, yes, we should specify. Instead of saying Moodle though, we should say the Learning
Correct.
Management System of Martin Community College.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. And okay, and recommendation of the chair. Because if we're going to ask, the chairs to pair these folks up, with someone, and there's somebody on the list that the chairs, they're doing the evaluations on them, and that they know what's in their evaluations, and they're not comfortable, they're they're not going to be comfortable assigning them as a buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Wait,
So,
say
I agree with-
that again?
so recommendation of the chair as a criteria, because the chairs do the evaluations of their online courses. So if they're not at a point where they feel like that they should be mentoring someone, then they're not going to be comfortable having them be a mentor for a new person. So they're never going to assign them someone. And then that's going to be kind of in a mess, because there's going to be this person on the list that never gets somebody as a buddy. Then that's going to be awkward.
I think I kind of see what you're saying, but maybe we could just frame this more as it's a system where it's not like volunteering, it's the chairs match up the partners, and then you kind of take that out of the equation, right? You won't have somebody who's like, I want to help, and they have to be told no.
that's a
Maybe.
great point.
Mhm.
I actually,
But
I
then they
love
never-
that, like, we
Yeah.
can say, something that, the chairs will reach out to the appropriate faculty based on this criteria to see if they want to become a buddy.
Or faculty buddies are experienced online teachers chosen by division chairs.
Yeah,
Like that.
right. But
So you're
we
saying
also
by,
though want to make sure that the person being chosen has the right to refuse.
okay. So instead of saying chosen by, so we're just saying paired up, that faculty buddies and faculty and new online instructors are paired up by the chairs, right?
Right,
They're paired up. So by default, Dr. Maybe, what you're saying is by default, that's how they're recommended, that they're not going to get someone anyway if they've ended up being a buddy. If they've ended up signing up to be a buddy, they're just not going to get somebody, because the chair's not going to pick them, even if they're on the list. Is that what you're saying?
well, there would be a list.
Yeah,
Well,
There's no
gonna be-
list.
I'm seeing
Well-
it more as, okay, we got a new history instructor this semester. So if that instructor were new to online teaching, then Daniel, maybe not through some formal list, would kind of say, okay, Christina would be good to pair up with this person in their first semester to help them. And then contact Christina to see if she's interested.
So
Right.
I
Wouldn't be like,
thought we were going to
Betty,
like put
I
it
want
out.
to volunteer, and then they choose like that. That's the way I'm kind of seeing it.
Oh, I thought we were gonna like put this out there and then for, say, okay, here's the criteria if you're eligible volunteer, and we would have
Mhm.
this list, and then they
Right.
were gonna choose from the list. Is that not what we're talking about?
Now, that's what we have here in this section
Right.
right here,
Mhm.
but you were just saying
Oh,
that
okay, I
people
see that.
volunteer and the chair doesn't want to recommend them. That would be awkward after a while, that they never get chosen as a buddy. Right? Is
Right.
that what you were
Right.
saying, Kim?
Yes, because weren't we putting this out as like, okay, we have this program, if you want to be in it, here's the criteria. And then there's this list, and the chairs say, oh, where's the list? And then they say, okay, here, who's available? And then, okay, here, thank you for volunteering. Here's your person. Is that,
I don't think it would be awkward for somebody never to get chosen. I mean, I think it would be easier for us to do what we initially said, send it out, ask for volunteers. Everybody has a list of volunteers. And then the department chair could just use their judgment. And if there's somebody that they don't want to recommend, they'll just never recommend them. And if they're asked, because like I think Rachel said, there's not going to be a million of them. And then if they're ever asked, they could say, oh, well, we just thought that this person would be better because they, teach the same subject, or they, just
Mhm.
kind of put them off.
Can there be a group form? Just a specific group,
When
I
you say
just-
group,
I
like a
just am
committee?
trying to put less on the
Uh-huh.
department chairs, having to make
yeah,
like the decisions and reach
Uh-huh.
out and then somebody say, oh, no, I don't want to do it. It would just be easier if we provided them with this list and said, here's a list of people who have volunteered. You pick who
Mhm.
you think is the best for someone.
yeah, and that way it just by default happens and it doesn't.
Yeah, that's
cause
my
any
opinion,
kind of-
but I mean, I don't
ill
care that
will.
much.
Yeah, it doesn't create any ill will. Yeah, I see what you're saying. What were you saying, Miss Outlaw?
I was asking, could it possibly be a group, like a mentoring group? Selected by the chairs?
And a person is assigned to a group of people?
I mean, let's say if it's a group of 5 that will be mentoring and they are already selected based on whether or not they'll be willing to serve as a mentor.
Mhm.
So you're saying that the pool would be not by volunteers, but the chairs would put the pool together?
Right. I don't know.
So I'm
Mhm.
kind of thinking a lot about what y'all are saying, but we don't want to put more on the chairs and make it awkward for them,
Okay.
about selecting faculty. I think that could get awkward really quick.
Okay.
The more I think about, but then again, I don't know.
But it would still fall to the chairs to sort through the volunteers to decide.
Mhm.
who's
Right.
Match anyway.
Right.
We're still gonna be
That's
doing
right.
that work anyway. The only thing
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do is contact the person and get a yes or no from them.
Right.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, do we need to set up the criteria then? Or can we just give,
Well, I think,
tell the
I think we
chairs?
need, I think we need some criteria that they're full-time faculty, that they've had a minimum of 2 semesters teaching online in the current learning management system of the college,
Okay,
and that the chairs will be pairing, that they'll be and then what the criteria are, and that the chairs will be pairing up new faculty. So they know that way they know that the chairs are going to be the ones making the selection.
yeah,
Mhm.
So by default, the chairs are making that.
right. And also the chairs at that
Recommendation.
point, they're gonna know if somebody hasn't had a good evaluation or if
Mhm.
students have been
Mhm.
complaining or something like that.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Mhm.
I think just a basic criteria like the, full-time faculty and the 2 semesters of teaching online in our current LMS, I think that's
Mhm.
good enough, because
Mhm.
the chairs they should know their faculty.
That's right.
Sure they
That's
do.
right. Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. So those are good points. Has everybody feel comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yes.
What do we finally end up with?
faculty, the faculty criteria to become a buddy is you have to be a full-time faculty member and 2 semesters teaching online in the learning management system of Martin Community College. And then the chairs will pair the new online faculty with the seasoned faculty member.
Yeah.
Where did we land on pool of volunteers versus the chairs?
Well, that's what's right here, right? They're gonna, full-time faculty will ask people to volunteer,
Okay, so we're
right? Which will
still
create your
on-
pool.
So we're still on creating that pool out of volunteers and not the chairs kind of putting the list together.
Yes. That's how we've always talked about it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do they
Mhm.
have to be a full-time faculty member, or could like I volunteer? Or somebody else who's full-time staff that is teaching?
Oh, that's a great question.
Mhm.
I mean, and we don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to even spell that out in the document, because it could just be like common knowledge that if you're gonna allow it, that, somebody could just volunteer.
Well, and
Well,
we
but
have adjuncts who have taught for multiple semesters too, who might be.
That's true.
Well, yeah. but
Sorry,
we-
that opens a whole can of worms.
It does, because with adjuncts at different, we have some adjuncts and they're really good, but even now, because they're teaching at different schools, they get their school that they're at mixed up about which school are they at and what is the policy.
And I guess if
thi-
it's.
I-
the
That's
adjunct,
true.
I see that a lot.
I think, yeah, and if it's the adjuncts, that might raise questions about additional compensation and all that
Yeah.
stuff too.
Yeah. But the full-time faculty, I think it might, I need to see about this. We ought to think about maybe full-time faculty / staff that have taught, because this brings up the whole issue in Con Ed as well. Because we have people in Con Ed we have shells in Con Ed and people who teach in Con Ed that are probably going to need to be, if they decide to do the buddy system, none of them are faculty, they're all staff.
Well, right, and then I think Randy Stokes is also an adjunct teacher. So he would be another situation like Maureen,
Right.
where he's
Yeah.
staff but has
Yeah.
teaching experience.
Yeah, there's a couple
Yeah.
of us here, so I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to change it or if it's just, kind
Yeah.
of, you can
Yeah.
leave it as faculty, but it's just kind of
Mhm.
understood. I don't know. Or maybe you don't
I-
want us. I don't know.
I think we should do the slash staff.
Right. Now, the other thing about semesters, like the difference between maybe like Maureen, you've taught a lot of semesters, right? So you have your
Yes.
2 semesters and say maybe somebody like, who's new to teaching, fairly new to teaching online, but maybe have taught 2 semesters, but maybe they've only taught 1 course, is a different than you who have taught a long time as a staff member,
Are you calling
many
me old?
semesters. No, I'm
But
just
the thing
saying
about
that
it-
the amount of semesters that you've taught as a staff person. So when we say semesters, if somebody's full-time and they've taught 2 semesters, then we know that they have a certain number of hours in each semester.
Yeah, but
If
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like people that are going to volunteer, they're either A, pretty experienced and able to help, or B, they're those type of people that they're going to be there for the person. And if they don't know something, they're going to go find the answer. Like I can't really foresee a bunch of people who are inexperienced volunteering to be a buddy and then, giving bad advice. I don't
Yeah.
know like that all this qualification is necessary.
Also, I think that is another part that falls back on the chair, like we were just talking about, how the chair
Sure.
should know their faculty. So even if the person is, like Maureen would fall under Daniel as the chair, but Daniel knows everything about Maureen's experience and all of that. So I think the chair would be wise enough to say, okay, I'm not going to put this person, they haven't taught for 4 semesters, right? Even though they're a staff member, for example. That's just an example. So I think that would go back onto the chair's the one that's going to pair the people up. So the chair is going to use their best discretion.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we? I've lost my place. So the criteria is going to be full-time faculty / staff, 2 semesters teaching online in LMS of MCC, and the chairs will pair new online faculty with seasoned faculty or long-standing faculty or whatever. I'll say seasoned. I don't know what word to use. Experienced, I guess.
Experienced is good.
Okay. Do we need anything else for criteria? Oh, your microphone's muted, Rochelle.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
Oh,
I mean, I think that's fine. We don't want to get too deep into the weeds in this.
Yeah.
If they've
I'm
got that
with you.
experience and they're full-time, then they should be appropriate faculty buddies.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you want to get into their student evaluations and all that kind of stuff. or
yeah,
something.
no.
No,
Okay,
but that's a great lead into the next topic that we'll probably have to do the next time.
right,
And I had, that's the, standard on, review for online courses. And so, Dr. Wyman, if you don't mind, I'll just mention what you and I had talked about at the last meeting.
Okay.
We had talked about using the, existing evaluations and that were done, the mid semester evaluations that were done. I mean, self-evaluations that were done to see if we could gather data from that. So it wouldn't have
Right.
to be redundant. Do you remember that conversation?
yes,
And I was tasked to find out what did that process look like. And so I went and asked about that. And so in that discussion, what I learned is that because the evaluation is part of the employee personnel record, in human resources, that we can't use data from that document as, to use for a separate online review because it's in someone's personnel record. So that's why, and I guess that makes sense as to why other colleges all have a separate process, even though they might use the same document or a version of the document, that they have a separate process for an online review. So in other words, they'll have like remember me talking about, they would have maybe a faculty review committee and they would do maybe a 10% blind pull and just do a review and do the data from that. And so that's the reason that they have a separate process, I guess, because even though they're using the same form for consistency, they're not just simply going and pulling that data that's already been done. That's between the chair and the chair
oh, you're breaking up.
You're
Kim.
breaking up a little
and
bit.
the employee on their personal evaluation.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that sort of makes sense. I mean, depending on what is in that personnel evaluation, you may not want it to be seen or looked at by anyone other than your immediate supervisors and the HR people. So, so all you're saying really is that we have to have a separate standard, a separate online process or a separate process for the standard review of online courses. And that's
independent from the
good.
chairs, right? So I
Mhm.
noticed that the
Oh,
outline.
did you say independent from the chairs?
Yeah, I mean, we can't use anything that the chairs are doing that's evaluating the employee. And I don't think
Yeah,
we
but-
can ask the chairs to do a separate evaluation. I mean,
Okay,
if
so-
we're, I don't,
Okay.
I don't think, it's like asking them to do double work,
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? I think it's almost like it's a duplication and sort of a almost, I don't know, to me, seems like it's
well, like,
hard to be objective.
as far as that review on the form that I sent out, or the document, the very last thing was sort of about that. Chairs have, some chairs have more faculty than others. How can we make sure that we're not burdening the chairs with
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
this? So that's something we'll talk about next time also.
Can I just ask a question? This might be really unpopular for Kim.
Yeah.
I mean, don't shoot me, but can you not do it?
Do the online reviews?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I probably could do the online reviews.
I mean, do you have enough time to do like a certain percentage of them or whatever? Because I feel like nobody would know it better than you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
you could be consistent and helpful and non-threatening. But, you know, I always am hesitant to give someone more work, you know. but-
Right. Well, there's two
Yeah,
things
Kim,
here.
she just volunteered you, I think.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I understand that, but there's two things here. One is, you know, we need to come up with the document as a group. The second thing is we need to come up as a process as a group. And I'm one person, it's my view. And so I would be doing all of the evaluations. Okay, what about the insight from other faculty members as, a balancing point, right? So I feel like we would benefit as a school to have, a process where there was a broader input, because if I do all these and then just send out the data, there's going to be a lot of potential questions, as opposed to if we had some type of rolling team that did these and people rolled in and out, there would be more ownership of the process and more understanding of the process. That's how I feel about it. I don't think it's ever good to have one person who's up there auditing everybody's classes for this review.
I
I
just
just
feel
don't
like,
see that as the best process.
I mean, I feel like that, it would be an ideal situation if we could have a group and a lot of people's eyes on it and different inputs, but I just logistically cannot see it ever happening. And
Why
I
not?
feel, because I think people are overworked
Mhm.
already. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, definitely I can't see the chairs doing it. And, and then the other faculty members, I'm not so sure, I can barely get this, like when I do program review, stuff like that, I can barely get information back from people. So I just think that, it would be one thing if you were holding their job in your hands, but you're just trying to be helpful. And so I just thought maybe, you doing it, whatever you could do would be, I think that would be a good process, but, like I said, I hate to volunteer somebody for more work, but I don't know. That's what my thoughts are.
Okay, well, that gives us some things to think about for next time. I'm sure that we can spend an hour next time on the standard review of online courses and how we're going to set up this review process. So that was something that I did put in here, was like the chair or the chair's designee. So the chair could appoint somebody to do it, for somebody else. Because if I was going to look at, I wouldn't be surprised if Vicky asked me to look at somebody else's course in entrepreneurship, right? Because it's my discipline, I'm overseeing that program anyway. And Vicky, even though she would know at least, if not more than I do, she doesn't have the time to do it. So I think that we should give the chairs the option of having other people. I do like the idea of more than one person's eyes on it though, because one thing is, like, if I'm asked to do it, me, I'm going to be like so harsh on the person. I'm going to be like picky about every little thing. And that's, not always the best thing. So I do think that having more than one person is good, but I understand what Maureen's saying too, that so many people are already to their, full point of their work. So, but anyway, all right, we're over an hour, so we're going to stop now, but we have lots to think about. And any last thoughts before we go?
Well, I think today was productive. I think, getting that buddy system hashed out was good, and appreciate Dr. Wyman for getting us started on that.
Thank you. And like I said, I'll update the changes and then I'll get it over to Rochelle and she'll do her magic.
Okay.
Yeah, Rochelle and I worked pretty well together on the narrative for the Moxie thing, so she was a big help to me anyway, so this will work out really well.
And I
Alright.
can spin anything, so.
I heard you said you were the spin doctor.
I really am, babe.
All right.
Okay, anything else?
When is our next meeting?
Let's see, today is the 23rd, so it would be March 23rd at 11. Is that good for everybody?
March 23rd at 11. Okay.
Is that good? Nobody's saying no, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, it works for me.
Sounds good.
So,
Okay, great.
All
All
right.
right, thank you all
Hey,
for
wait.
joining.
It's gonna be on a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, is it, do we want to say March 24th then? I mean,
I mean, I don't care. We just usually meet on.
is the
Thursday.
23rd fine for everybody?
That's a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Wednesday. Can we do
So
a
that's-
Tuesday or a Thursday?
The 24th then?
Yeah.
I missed my day, I'm sorry, I'm lost by a day. March 24th, okay,
At 11?
at 11? Yeah,
Yeah, that'll work for me.
okay. All right, thanks for being on top of that.
Thanks for
All
catching
right,
me.
I'll talk to you all later.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.